And now for our next news special report.
Tonight we have something extraordinary for you. In a moment, we'll show you a video sending shockwaves across the nation. President Trump's eulogy for Biden's America. This isn't just a speech, it's a seismic event that has the power to shape our political landscape. Trump's words cut through the noise, exposing the stark reality of our nation's trajectory under the current leadership. What you're about to see is more than a critique. It's a clarion call to every American who believes in the promise of this great nation. This report will not only reveal Trump's powerful message, but also dissect its implications for our future. Make sure you stay until the end for my final thought. It's a perspective you won't find anywhere else. Brace yourselves. This is one video you can't afford to miss, and you will need to share. Now, before we dive into our special report, let's acknowledge something crucial. You know, the uncompromising news we bring you every day, it's made possible by sponsors like Ground News. In a time when media bias is rampant, Ground News stands out. It's an app and a website that lets you see exactly where each news story falls on a political spectrum. For instance, consider the recent poll showing over half of Americans own guns. While 9 conservative outlets reported this, only 1 left-wing source did. This kind of insight is vital as we head towards the 2024 election. Stay informed with Ground News by subscribing at ground.news/nextnews for a 40% discount. Support media transparency with Ground News. Now, it's my duty to bring you not just the news, but the unvarnished truth. And tonight, that truth centers on a speech by President Trump, a speech that's not just a critique, but a scathing eulogy for Biden's America. His words at the Coralville, Iowa rally were more than merely political rhetoric. They were a piercing indictment of the current administration's failures and a bold vision for the future of our republic. In the heartland of America, Trump took the stage with a commanding presence that we've come to expect from him. He didn't mince words or sugarcoat the situation. Instead, he laid bare the stark reality of the nation's plight, unfiltered and undiluted. This was Trump at his most candid, diagnosing the ills that plague our country under Biden's watch. Take a look.
Together we're taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. Some of the most menacing forces, many from within our country. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, and they are vicious, vicious people that I believe hate our country, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and your American liberty is your God-given right. You're not allowed to use the word God anymore. Did you see that one? They don't want you to use the name, they don't want you to say God anymore. From Sioux City to Iowa City, from Fort Dodge to Cedar Rapids, and from Des Moines to Davenport, we stand on the shoulders of generations of Iowa patriots who gave everything they had for our country and for our freedom. Incredible people, incredible, brave, strong people. This great state was founded by tough frontiermen, strong pioneer women who defied the dangers to carve out a life for a great family, beautiful home and family. They tamed the wilderness, they braved the elements, they tilled the soil, they worked the fields, they built the factories, and they poured out their blood, sweat, and tears to make this country into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest levels in our history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just a few short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation anywhere in the world. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will be reducing their oil production while at the same time substantially increasing the price. And we met that threat by announcing that we will no longer be drilling for oil in large areas of Alaska or elsewhere in the States. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal is fake and will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, despite the fact that they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of our gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but is not available in China. And now we are a nation that wants to make our revered and very powerful army tanks the best in the world. We want to make them all electric so that despite the fact that they are also not able to go far, few pollutants will be released into the air as we blast our way through enemy territory in an environmentally friendly manner. And they also want to make our fighter jets with a green stamp of energy savings, though losing 15% efficiency, but allowing us to keep our enemy's atmosphere clean of emissions as we viciously and unceremoniously attack them at levels never seen before. Who are these people that would do this to us? Who are these people who would ruin our country? We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a foolish and self-destructive thing? Can we be energy independent? Can we ever be energy dominant again? Yes, oh yes, and quickly, says President Trump. Yes, oh yes, and quickly. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world behind. And also abandoning Bagram, one of the biggest military bases anywhere in the world, and only 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your president, and for 4 straight years it didn't happen. Likewise, the horrifying attack on Israel would never have happened. They wouldn't even have thought of doing it if President Trump was in the Oval Office. It wouldn't have been a thought. Iran was broke under the Trump administration. They didn't have the money to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, and all of the other instruments of terror. But those sanctions were lifted by a corrupt Biden administration, and now Iran is a rich country with $200 billion and another $6 billion for hostages and $10 billion from electricity for Iraq, all compliments of an incompetent Biden administration. And China with Taiwan is next. We are a nation that allows the radical left to violently attack our cities, leaving behind massive destruction and death. And nothing happens to the violent criminals that do these terrible things. There is no punishment, but when the people who love our country protest in Washington, they become hostages, unfairly imprisoned for long periods of time. So sad, isn't it? So sad. We are a third world nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against opposing political parties like never before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald J. Trump to lie and say it was fact, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, and the FBI knew it wasn't. But 51 intelligence agents said it was, and the Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars because of the weaponry that no one even wants to think about. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are indeed the enemy of the people. They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family, but enjoy covering the false indictments of Donald J. Trump, who has done nothing wrong except win an election. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed and where crime is rampant and out of control like never before. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And less than 3 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They respected us. They were afraid of us. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. Now Russia and China are holding summits to carve up the world. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that no longer is admired, respected, or listened to on the world stage. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, faith, and even to God. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, whose supply chain is broken, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the very bottom of every single list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than groceries to feed our beautiful families. A nation whose once revered airports, those beautiful, beautiful airports, are dirty, a crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will, where ticket prices have tripled. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't have the qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what the hell they're doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was the hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it's the hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists. We will throw off the sick political class. We will rout the fake news media. We will drain the swamp, and we will liberate our country from these tyrants and villains once and for all. Like those great patriots before us, we will not bend, We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever back down. With your support, we will go on to victory, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and we will take back our country on Election Day 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten men and women will be forgotten no longer. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America great again. We will love our country. We will take care of our country. We will pray to God for strength and for liberty. We will pray for God, and we will be with God. Iowa, thank you very much. This was a great honor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you all.
Amazing. Now, the video you just witnessed isn't mere political posturing. It's raw and unapologetic assessment of our nation's current state. Trump's portrayal of Biden's America is a chilling one. A nation in decline, its values eroding, its strength waning. In his address, Trump systematically dismantled the Biden administration's policies, highlighting the soaring inflation, crippling energy dependence, and international embarrassments that we suffered in recent times. What Trump is pointing out here isn't just a failure of a presidency, it's the erosion of the American dream. The inflation that eats away at every American saving, the energy crisis that leaves us at the mercy of foreign powers, the military misadventures that tarnish our global standing, these are symptoms of a deeper melee, one that Trump argues has been brought on by Biden's lack of leadership. His words resonate with the frustrations of many Americans who feel betrayed by a government they believe has lost touch with its people. Trump articulates a sentiment powerfully, positioning himself not just as a critic of the current administration, but as a savior of the American ethos. He speaks of a return to greatness, a reclamation of the values that made America the envy of the world. But it's not just about pointing fingers at the present administration. Trump's speech goes further, offering a vision of the future, a vision where America regains its economic might, where it reasserts its energy independence, and where it reclaims its respect on the world stage. This isn't merely nostalgia for a bygone era. It's a roadmap for restoring America's greatness. He sharply criticizes the Biden administration's handling of international affairs, particularly the debacle in Afghanistan and the growing threats from Russia and China. Trump's assertion is clear. Under Biden, America has become weaker, more vulnerable. He contrasts this with his own administration claiming a stronger, more respected America on the global stage. Now, whether one agrees or not, it's hard to deny the impact of his words resonating with those who feel America has lost its way. Domestically, Trump's critique is just as severe. He lambasts the administration for its handling of the economy, the energy sector, and law enforcement. In his view, the Biden administration's policies have led to skyrocketing inflation, energy dependence, and a demoralized police force. This, Trump argues, is a far cry from the America that he led, where economic growth, energy independence, and law and order were the hallmarks. And Trump's address was not just a political speech, it was a rallying cry for those who feel left behind, those who yearn for America that once was. In his vision, America is not just a country, it's a symbol of strength, prosperity, and freedom. Ideals, he claims, have been compromised under Biden's watch. And yet, amidst this bleak portrayal, Trump offers a glimmer of hope. He speaks of America that can be resurrected, an America that can once again stand tall and proud. His action is clear. It's time to shed the complacency, to rise up against the mediocrity that he claims has seeped into the nation's fabric. In Trump's narrative, the 2024 election is not just another political contest. It's the battle for the soul of the nation. He positions himself as the leader who can steer America back on course, who can revive the nation's dwindling spirit. His message is one of redemption, of a return to former glory, a message that resonates with many who feel disillusioned and disenfranchised. As we absorb the gravity of Trump's words, it's important to remember the role of media in shaping public perception. The mainstream media, often accused of bias, may paint a different picture. But here we strive to present the unvarnished truth, to give voice to the voiceless, and to hold those in power accountable. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's more important now than ever to stay informed, to question the narratives being fed to us, and to seek the truth. As we wrap up, let's reflect on the critical message President Trump has delivered in his eulogy for Biden's America. This is more than a rallying cry. It's a crucial wake-up call for every patriot who believes in the core values of our republic. Trump has laid out not just the problems, but also the path to redemption. His speech wasn't merely an indictment of the current state of affairs. It was a blueprint for a stronger, more prosperous America. As 2024 approaches, the choice we face as a nation couldn't be clearer. It's not just about choosing a president, it's about choosing a direction for our country. Trump has shown that he not only understands the challenges we face, but also possesses the bold vision required to address them. And casting our vote for Trump is more than a political decision. It's a stand for the future of our nation. Let's make that choice for America's revival.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.